Yo, yo, yo. How's it going? It's Jets Talk with Umbro and Tom O. Still no beanie. I know, man. It's very fucking stressful. Um, but, Umbro's here. Tom O's over there. And we're going to switch things up a little bit with the hire of Robert Saleh in place. There's really no need to talk about other head coaches at the moment. So we're going to move on to the NFL draft. Granted, Deshaun Watson talks have heated up. There's a lot we could talk about with that, but we're going to kind of play it together here. And we're going to start off with draft profiles moving forward. So we wanted to start off with the wide receiver position just because the draft is chock full of talent that you could see go early and then you could see go in the middle, beginning first to that second round. A lot of receivers could get overdrafted here. We're going to go over our top five and kind of discuss why. With that being said, let's just get right to it, man. Regardless of who the Jets have at quarterback in 2021, they got to throw to somebody. It's going to be Jamison Crowder. It's going to be Denzel Mims. And then, it'll be one of these guys. So, Tom, why don't we go ahead and start with just the top five that you have in place?
Love that. Yeah. Top five for me is going to be Jamar Chase, then Devonta Smith, Jalen Waddle, Rashad Bateman, and then I'll be finishing with Rondell Moore.
Rondell Moore. Okay. Fire. So I'm going to go ahead and switch up the order a little bit. I like Devonta Smith, then Jamar Chase. The two are very interchangeable. Depends on what you're going for. I like Waddle a lot. I like Rashad Bateman a lot. And then I also like, a mix of guys. And it could be in any order. I like Amon-Ra St. Brown a lot. I like Terrence Marshall, who's kind of a dark horse of mine. And then I also do like as well, Tutu Atwell comes to mind. Rondell Moore comes to mind. So those guys are definitely people to keep an eye on here. So let's start with the top two. We both have Chase. We both have Smith towards the top. Tom, make the case for Chase since you had him number one, and then I'll make the case for Devonta Smith.
Yeah, okay, I like that. For Jamar Chase, the reason I have him one, I think a lot of people are honestly forgetting about how good he really is and how good he was last year. I do think that he was obviously on a great team as well. He had a great quarterback throwing to him, right? Don't want to, take anything from Joe Burrow. But with that being said, he also Justin Jefferson. It's more targets getting taken from him, and he still put up, some historic numbers, which obviously you're about to get to that were beaten. But Jamar Chase, he's built like a running back. He's 6'1", 210. He was listed about 200, 205 in college. I'm predicting like 210, 215 he'll show up at. Which he'll be looking cut up. He opted out all season, so he's just been training. The one thing that I love about him the most is he's got a great size. Like I said, 6'1", 210. Honestly, that's pretty perfect. Maybe you want him a little bit taller. It's interchangeable. But the point is, he consistently wins 50-50 balls. I really haven't seen many corners that have been able to cover him. Taller, shorter, more athletic. It doesn't matter. There hasn't been many people able to win those 50-50 balls. He's physical at the line of scrimmage. I said specifically his deep routes, his outside release on his deep routes is absolutely magnificent. You cannot get hands on him. He's already around you and he's past you. And then by that time, it's too late. Absolutely obsessed with him. I have some weaknesses, but I'll stop there. And I will leave it with, if you want to see how good he really is, go to the 2019 National Championship and just type in AJ Terrell versus Jamar Chase. AJ Terrell being a first-round pick who led up 9 receptions, 221 yards, and 2 touchdowns.
Fire. Okay, so listen, Chase is a great player. I'm going to make the case for Devonta Smith. For those who didn't know Devonta Smith before the national championship game, I can promise you they know him now. That dude put up numbers just in the first half. 200 yards receiving, three of them bad boys, 3 TDs in the first half. All right. Cooked that Ohio State secondary like 4th of July barbecue. So what I love about Smith, let's go over his 2020 stats real quick, because he did more all year than just in the AFC, the national championship. In total, 177 receptions for 1,856 yards, 15-yard average with 23 TDs. Randy Moss on the Patriots numbers. 9 yards a catch on average, 140 yards a game. So, those stats don't lie. And then you look at the tape, and let's talk about the national championship game. Kind of like how Jamar Chase played against AJ Terrell. We talk about Shaun Wade a little bit in this podcast, right? And he's going to drop in the draft because there are better corners than him. Shaun Wade, you're looking at maybe second, third round. But still, it's an Ohio State cornerback. They have great reputations, and a lot of them are very talented. Devonta Smith had the route running to really just keep him on edge all game long. And that's what I like the most about Devonta Smith. He finds ways to get open, very refined route running, while at the same time being able to put on the burners deep. So he's got a full route tree. We know that. He's got great hands. He's able to make toe tap catches. Obviously, people talk about his frame, a little bit of a thinner guy, but Marvin Harrison was a thinner guy. Reggie Wayne was a thinner guy. Randy Moss was a thinner guy, So like things like that, you can't really look at. He's tall. He has hands. He knows how to go after the catch. In the pros, I see him as one of those very special possession receivers, but able to make plays after the catch, i.e. a Reggie Wayne, or a Marvin Harrison. That's kind of my pro comparison. His ability to get open is just tremendous. And when it comes to NFL receivers now, it feels like the best guys in the NFL are either the best with 50-50 balls, or they're extremely good route runners, or they're just fast. And there's really, in my eyes in the pros, there's really no in between, because you're either too big to guard, you're too fast to guard, or you're just better than the person lining up across from you. He made Shaun Wade look really bad in the national championship game. And he's fast, man. I could see him running a 4.4, maybe below that in the combine, if there is a combine. That's why I like Smith. He's just an all-around guy. Jack of all trades, really good at everything, not super, super strong in one thing, but he's a number one receiver, and you can't go wrong with that.
I agree with that. I agree with that a lot. And I actually wanted to say something as well. You said, he's made every corner look bad this year, every single one, but Shaun Wade actually is bad. But so honestly, though, like to tie it back, like I had a lot of similar takes as you to Smith. I literally, I wrote, he's the best route runner in this receiver class by far, absolute technician. And honestly, maybe the best route runner we've ever seen coming out of college, to be very frank. Genuinely, my only and biggest concern is his physicals. He's listed at 6'1", 175 right now, which could be a total load of BS, because he won't let anybody measure him. He won't let anybody get his height or his weight right now. So that we're not going to know until the draft of what his actual size is. But right. This man, who knows? Maybe he's rocking 165. If you get hands on him, is where I'm worried of these, at the next level. But with that being said, he's going to be open a lot, and I'm not worried that much, but just to put my only weakness or concern out there.
Yeah, and listen, it's definitely going to be a concern. Anybody that frail looking going into the pros, there's always going to be a question mark. But no, he could go into the pros at 165, and he can go to whoever drafts him, and they could tell him, dude, you need to put on 20 pounds. Marquise Brown put on 23 pounds in the offseason. Granted.
Absolutely. And he's a much better receiver than Marquise Brown.
But that's what I'm saying. It's definitely not impossible.
I don't want you to think. Yeah, I don't want you to think he's a risk. I think anybody should take him. He's
agree.
that good. But it's definitely something to think about.
Yeah, 100%. And I guess I don't see weaknesses in Jamar Chase.
I I had a lot of trouble finding weaknesses as well.
Yeah, my thing is, I'm like the plays he's making in college. Like I don't see the explosiveness like I saw with like past LSU receivers. Like Justin Jefferson made a lot happen after the catch. You know, Odell Beckham Jr. back in his LSU days made plays after the catch. I saw that with Justin Jefferson. I'm sorry, Jamar Chase. But to me, he translates to more of a very consistent 50-50 ball guy, possession guy who's able to just be a big body and just make catches because he's bigger than somebody. So
I would like to combat that because I actually believe that aside from one other person we'll get to, I think that Jamar Chase is the best receiver in this class after the catch. He's absolutely built like a running back, and I think that that's what separates him because he can win those 50-50 balls, and if he gets open and has the chance to run those open field, that he's almost untackleable.
He's definitely tough to tackle. I'll give you that.
Yeah, but the combine's big. Not having that combine, not having that 40, I think that really hurts him a lot, to be honest with you.
Because the thing is, like, for all we know, he could come out like Jarvis Landry and run a 4.7. I don't think he's going to run that slow, but I could see him as like a 4.6, 4.5 guy. And sometimes players just play on the field faster than what they test. You know, Jarvis Landry, he ran a 4.7 at the combine, but he's a way faster player on the field. You know, so I think he could be one of those guys. I think the combine, I mean, it's kind of, in his case to me, as much as it is a deficit, it could be a plus. Because right now, what if he is running a 4.6? That's only going to drop his stock.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, so my thoughts is that he's been opted out, right? He's been off, not playing football for 4 months. He might be a little rusty in the actual game, but if he did it right, his physicals should be better than ever. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So that's why I say that.
100%. And I think, so who do you think gets drafted first? And why?
Devonta Smith, because we have new tape, and he was the Heisman Trophy winner.
Okay, I'm going to agree. I think it's a what have you done for me lately league. And, you know, a lot of guys have such recency bias, and that term gets tossed around a lot, that it's happened very previously. I still think Jamar Chase finds a way into the top 10.
I think he may find a way in the top 5 still, to be honest with you.
Interesting. So if he gets in the top 5, we both agree Smith gets drafted in the top, well, before him.
You're going to say top 2?
Is he top 2? Is he top 3? What's going on? So listen, I mean,
it might go Jets Dolphins. It might go Devonta Smith
2, 3
before
Penei Sewell.
It very much might be.
Oh my God, man!
I don't think it's the move.
The Jets might not even be it 2. We'll see what happens with Watson. You know, I'm kind of, you know, we'll talk about that another time. But low key, kind of hoping it works out with Watson without having to give up too much. But we'll see.
Best case scenario.
All right, so let's talk about Jalen Waddle. Stupid high on Jalen Waddle. He's probably, like, outside of Devontae and Jamar, like, you could argue that Smith would get drafted before either of them had it not been for the injury this year. I think he's the first word that comes to my mind is explosive. Just flat out explosive, dynamite after the catch. That's where he's going to make his plays. I think in the NFL, he translates into a very dynamic slot receiver who's going to toast your third corner constantly and just make plays after the catch. Turn a hitch route into a touchdown type of deal. You know, that said, he can get open deep, and some people might have a different pro comparison. Say a lot of Tyreek Hill in his game, bro. I think he's got a bigger build, but when he turns on the Jets, there's nobody faster than him. So that's why I love him so much, and he knows how to put the moves on. He returns, kicks, and punts. Very versatile. So you just know that when the ball's in his hands, he's going to be very dangerous. So that's kind of my assessment. I could see him on a team that maybe already has like a first or second, kind of receiving duo or whatever in place. Maybe somebody like, Carolina.
The Giants.
The Giants, definitely. Where else could he go? I mean,
he can go a lot of places.
No matter where else he go, he could drop to Minnesota. And Minnesota could have Jefferson, Thielen, and Jalen Waddle, which would be absolutely stupid. But I'm just thinking off the top. What's your assessment?
I love all your takes. I mean, so my big thing I put in all caps was speed. This man is fast. He is so fast. I'm not sure like if the combine somehow happens or maybe his pro day 40. I wouldn't be surprised. Like I think he'll be like a low 4.3. I don't believe he's going to break into the 4.2s. He's more of like his 100-yard sprint would be absurd. I don't think there's anybody in the league that if he's going down the field that is, as fast as him. You said Tyreek Hill. I think that is a great comparison. Now, my only thing that I will say to that is durability, and Tyreek Hill is a lot thicker than Jalen Waddle. He's like over 200 pounds.
Right.
We're looking at Jalen Waddle, who's about 182 and did show some injury concerns this year.
Yeah.
But one thing I did love to see is he went to rehab. He got back for the national championship.
Yep.
And this is a guy that, we saw where Henry Ruggs went and got drafted last year in the top 10. He was the first receiver taken, I believe, right? I believe that Jalen Waddle is an upgrade from Henry Ruggs. So, if you're a team, you're getting a steal here.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, Philly's at 7.
I really don't want Philly to get him.
No, nobody wants Philly to get him. Yeah, I mean, listen, overall, just a dynamic playmaker, and he's probably the best playmaker, in my opinion, out of all these receivers. Just when he has the ball in his hands, he's going to do something with it, and it's going to be a big play. Whereas, that's kind of his identity. He's definitely in that top 3, and I think all of these guys have an identity where, Devonta Smith's the route technician. You have Jamar Chase, who's the big-bodied guy who's going to be hard to tackle, right? Kind of like an Anquan Bolden type of ordeal. And then you're going to have Jalen Waddle, who's going to be that explosive playmaker with the ball in his hands, right? I think his best place, listen, he could play all over the field, but I'd love to see him in the slot with a team that might already have a weapon or two. Maybe he falls to San Francisco at 12. What if like you have Debo, George Kittle, and now you have Jalen Waddle, and God only knows Brandon Ayuk. Like that's ridiculous, So, I mean, like he's a plug and play guy no matter where you put him, and I think that's why I like him. Even if you just have him return kicks to start until he gets acclimated, like he's going to contribute right away, no matter what, which is amazing.
Yeah, I love that you said one of your points was if he was like the second receiver on a team or a third receiver on a team. Yeah. That is so dangerous because like he's good enough to potentially just based off of his explosiveness and speed, like he might be that good that he can already be a number 1 receiver.
Right.
But like if you get him at number 2 or 3 on any team, that's awesome. I love that.
Game over, Now, who was 4 for you? We both had Bateman. So
yes.
Bateman for me is kind of like an old reliable. Like you just know he's the type to go on a team. He's going to be on that team forever. He's going to always be there to make the clutch catch. He's going to be there when you need him. So, and then, he's going to make some plays for you, right? Like he's not great at anything. He's just good at everything, right? So like, to me, Larry Fitzgerald comes to mind. Just kind of like, I know that's pretty wild. But when I watch his tape, he's the first guy they always go to. Like he's their number 1, obviously. But like when it's crunch time, Rashad Bateman's getting the ball. He's making those tough catches. He's making the plays that need to be made in clutch situations. So to me, like that's a Larry Fitz type of ordeal. He's tall. He's got all the physicals. He's fast. He can run a route tree. he just doesn't have the same identity as some of these other guys where it's like he's amazing at one particular thing, you know? So that's kind of why he's at number 4 for me. I think he's going to be his floor for me. His floor would probably be, if I had to put a thumb on it, I would say it'd have to be like Larry Fitzgerald's like now, like old one.
Which is not that bad.
No, not at all. You know,
I like that.
But I think the sky is the limit for him. I do also think it depends on where he goes. I think he can make a bad quarterback look good, and I think he's just going to be the guy who's going to be there when you need it. He's the work ethic guy. You're going to show up, do all the right things, and you want all those guys on your football team, you know? So that's kind of my take on it. You know, what do you think?
Yeah, I'd say we have some pretty similar takes to this, honestly. I think that, yeah, he doesn't have an identity, and I think that's, you know, why he's obviously at 4, which is honestly still really good in this class with the 3 receivers that we have up there. I mean, there's not many people that would ever be above them.
Right.
But, yeah, I think he's got a good size, like 6'2", 210. He'll probably become a little bit bigger when he goes to the pros.
Right.
And he's got good speed as well. But he's not, you know, elite speed. He's not elite size. He's a nice combination of the two. And I think he uses his body really well to box out defenders and make catches. So yeah, I think you said it well. Like, he's kind of all reliable. I definitely think he has potential to be a number one receiver on a team in the league, for sure. And I think that you know, I think he's really good. One of my favorite things about him, honestly, is that he plays really hard. And I love his blocking. I've seen him put some serious DBs on their butts, and nothing fires me up more. Nothing fires me up more.
100%. So that being said, just to piggyback off that, do you think he interviews really well and performs well in testing, and you think a team falls in love with him and maybe drafts him before one of these other guys by chance, depending on how the board falls?
No. No, I don't think so.
What do you think is the highest spot he gets drafted?
Honestly, I think the highest spot that he has potential to get drafted would be number 11, which is to the Giants. Other than that, I don't see any possibility he goes before that. And I don't think that he's going to go to the Giants, but I'm saying that is the ultimate earliest that he can go. Really, I think more so between 13 to 20 is more his range.
So before the Matthew Stafford news broke out, I would say he had a shot in Detroit. But Detroit seems to have a game plan in place where quarterback is probably going to be the move in the draft, you know, which will be another very interesting topic. But I mean, hey, listen, if you're Philly at number 7 and you really like him, and maybe you're a little concerned with Jalen Waddle and the other 2 are taken, hey man, they could go that route. You know, maybe Dallas at 10, maybe, you know, which would be
Amari
absolutely
Cooper,
stupid. But listen, you can't rule out Jerry Jones when it comes to this stuff.
Agreed. You can never rule out anything in the draft.
Yeah. You know, so, I mean, his ceiling is as high as top 10. His floor, 34 to the Jets. He doesn't drop below 34. Do you remember last year's draft where first T. Higgins went to the Bengals, 33rd. 34th was the Colts, who took Michael Pittman, who I really wanted badly. I loved Michael Pittman coming out. And then I think the Colts right after drafted Jonathan Taylor. All these skill players, boom, 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 just dropped because the demand for receivers late in the first round last year was like firework. How many 6 wide receivers got drafted in the first round last year?
Absolutely. Yeah. So, and I mean, this class is right there with that class.
Right.
So.
And that's what I'm saying. I think the demand is going to be there for Rashad Bateman. And if he somehow falls to 34 and the Jets go without a receiver in free agency or the draft at that point, I'm good with Rashad Bateman. You can bet.
Or 23. You don't rule out that
he could go 23
yet. Watson's not on the Jets yet.
We just don't know, man.
I know.
Watson, man. Watson. I don't know. But listen.
It's definitely.
I mean, it could be. Maybe depending on the identity of the team. Matt LaFleur is the passing game coordinator. Depending on who the quarterback is, I think you're going to see the identity of the offense come into fruition when the talent is there. I think if the Jets decide to keep Darnold, you're going to see more of a run-first approach. If they somehow make a trade for Deshaun Watson or draft another quarterback, you could see a pass-first offense being implemented. But that said, I'm not going to brant about the Jets. We're here to talk about the draft, but also for the Jets. All right. We got a couple of other guys who we kind of defer here. Amen. So we've got, you liked Rondell Moore. I like Amon-Ra St. Brown. So not that I dislike Rondell Moore, but the two for me are flip-flopped. So what's your take on Rondell Moore?
So Rondell Moore, I think he's a massive – I'm going to start off with his negatives. I think he's a massive concern in the sense that obviously his durability, he's not the biggest guy at 5'9", 180. He's not necessarily even the fastest guy. One of the big things that makes him so good is his ability with the ball in his hands, just in terms of his shiftiness. People can't put their hands on him, and he's fast enough to get the job done. But I just really like him. I mean, he's a guy you're going to be using on kick returns, punt returns. You're just going to want to design specific plays to get him the ball in the open field. He's a guy you just want to put the ball in your hands. And, a team that's already, we always talk about, that's already established, already good. You put a weapon like that on the team. And I think that would, obviously be extremely beneficial. I think another, like I said, in terms of his speed, I think he's going to be one of those Jarvis Landry guys. And I think it's going to hurt him a lot because he's not even as big as Jarvis. So I could see him running like a 4.5, even maybe 4.6. But
wow.
I mean, at his size, you want to see him running a lot faster than that,
Definitely. I can agree with everything you said. He's like one of those, like, I hate using this term because I feel like it's very demeaning at this point, but he's a gadget player. He's a guy
absolutely
that,
gadget player.
Yeah, like you're not going to put him at number 1 or number 2. Like he's not going to start it for you consistently at wide receiver. He's a guy you can occasionally put in the slot, put it running back, put anywhere on the field. Yeah,
give him the ball.
And durability is a concern. He has had a couple of injuries in the past, and I mean, for all we know, he could play a lot of running back. But he's more of like one of those weapon players without a true position, which is why I have him lower on my list. If he goes to a team, say like Kansas City, not that Kansas City is going to take him.
They don't need him.
But
please don't do that.
But that's the fit. You go to a team that doesn't necessarily need you, but can use you because you have a unique set of skills for an offense of that nature, if that makes sense. So
absolutely makes sense.
I.e., maybe, listen, like, why not Philly? Why not, Houston?
Him, you saying Rondell Moore going to them?
I mean, later,
Yeah.
Who knows?
Much later. Like, I think he'll be I think he'll be after 25.
Yeah, I don't think he's not a first round guy. He might not even be a second round guy. Yeah, he shouldn't be a first round guy.
I think he's a second round guy. I don't necessarily know if he'll go in the second round. Right. Just with, like you said, the question marks, kind of being a little bit more positionless. It's definitely really good points. And like we said, I mean, he's specifically a guy you're like, you design a play around him, you get him the ball and like do work. Like, you're probably going to come off you might only get like, 3-4 touches a game besides special teams or whatever, but
he's like a poor man's Percy Harvin.
Exactly.
Just came to me.
You know what? The only thing I would say is like, he's definitely shiftier than Percy Harvin. His speed, not the same, but this man is like, I mean, when he's got the ball in his hands, he's hard to bring down. Yeah, he really is. But yeah, I mean, I like your take on him
for sure. Now, Amon-Ra, I watch Amon-Ra. He's another guy who's like make a play after the catch. He's just not as fast as like he's like kind of like a Laviska Shenault type. Like when he has the ball in his hands, he's tough to bring down. He'll make like the tough catch. I like the route tree that he puts together at USC. I don't like Slovis, and I think that was kind of his downfall this season. Listen, I don't like Slovis whatsoever. I don't think he's good. You know, we'll talk about that next year when the draft comes. But you know, I think with the situation around him, he made the best of it. And I think that speaks very highly of a player. I mean, listen, you look at him as a player. He's not very big, right? He's not like stupid fast, but he makes plays. And when he gets the opportunity, he makes plays. So like you look at his stats from 2020 this year, he only played 6 games. So credit to the pandemic, but like 41 catches, almost 500 yards, 11.7 average, 7 touchdowns. He finds ways to be productive in a short sample size, right? Which means he prepares well. He's obviously very talented. And he's going to find a way, no matter what squad he's on, to put up some numbers, So I think just speaking very highly of him in that sense, and at least he's a wide receiver coming in, where like, you look at Rondale Moore, he's a wide receiver, but, is he though? You look at like Tutu Atwell. Is he really a wide receiver? And he's one of my dark horses though, but we'll get to him. But listen, I see Amon-Ra coming in. He'll contribute. He'll make some plays. I think he'll be a very good slot receiver. I think his ceiling could be Jamison Crowder. I think his floor could very well be like one of these guys. It's just kind of fallen off, like it's hard to say. Like you can put him he's a slot receiver to me, and you can never have enough of those in this league personally. Maybe New England takes a chance on him in the second round or something, but I mean, listen, at least we know what he is,
Yeah.